Okay, so what was the audition process like for the role of Derek in Scream 2? Because it sounds like, especially after the success of Scream, like every, young hot star wanted to be in the Scream sequel. So what did you have to do in the audition for that role?
I had to meet Julie Plec, who I'm sure you know, who's a great writer who was working with Wes Craven at the time, God rest his soul. And Wes's producing partner, Marianne Magdalena, and all of our producers. It was a real old school. By the way, they don't really do this anymore because everything's done over Zoom and like what they call self tapes. So you take your phone and you read sides, and then they're casting these things on phones now. I mean, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's just the technology. I mean, we do everything else on our phones, so why shouldn't we audition on our phones now?
Yeah.
But back in the day, you had to walk into a room and meet people and read sides. And I just, I had really been pretty seasoned at that point. I had auditioned for thousands of commercials, tens of thousands of commercials. I had auditioned for, scripted series and stuff, and I was ready. I was not intimidated meeting Wes Craven. I went in and it's funny, early on in my career, I auditioned for a TV show when I first started getting into scripted stuff. I was still in college at the time. And I had a terrible reading. I got very nervous. I started shaking. I mean, listen, it's intense. I was 20 and there's a room of 10 people and they're staring at you. And I had like a panic attack. And then I remember my agent called me up and was like, "Did you have a panic attack in there? They said you were shaking and like not
Oh,
good." And it's
God.
embarrassing. And
Oh,
I swore I
no.
would never get like nervous at an audition again. It like held me back, like those nerves. Of course, like we all have nerves going into things, but I would just be fucking loose going into places. And Wes had such a great sense of humor. He had such a good sense of humor. I was very loose, and I can't speak for him, but I think he liked it. And we were a loose cast. And it was interesting because I sort of had to play the boyfriend, so my role was a little straight, but it was a loose, fun cast. We had a really fun time. Kevin Williamson wrote the script. I thought the original Scream changed the game. I mean, I thought it was like different than anything I had seen, and they really went for it. Spoiler alert. When those two killers at the end are doing their thing and toying with Sydney, we had never seen that in a horror movie.
Yeah.
It's disturbing.
You were speaking, we actually were lucky enough to have Kevin Williamson on the podcast, and we talked to him about Scream 2 was known